Cam, man. So you are you gonna be out there with people like that, you know?
Yeah, I might step out. I know it just started, so I've been looking at some people that are down at the art museum. It's pretty packed, but I mean, I went to one a couple years ago, and if it's anything like that, it's just gonna be people walking around. Like, I don't know, man. I don't
I
know.
don't know. This seems different this year.
Yeah, man. This year, I mean, there's a lot going on. You got the combination of, COVID. So you got people that have just been in their houses. You
Exactly.
got people that haven't been making money. You got a one-time check that's supposed to hold you over. People are, and it's the same thing. You see that on top of, another unarmed black person gets killed.
Right.
And this time it's one of those things like, it wasn't even like a shooting. This is like a completely preventable event where a dude could have just took his knee off somebody's neck.
Right.
Like it wasn't like, oh man, like a in the moment type thing. This was very, hey man, just get up.
Even any one of the other
So
cops, even one
the
any
anger's there.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the anger's there, but yeah, what you say? There was a bunch of cops there, and they could have done something too. It's
Right.
like anybody could have just been like, all right, just get up. So, I mean, I understand this situation is one of those. This could be the boiling point, just the combination of things, but also I've seen protests, I've been to protests,
Yeah.
and then at the end of it, you kind of just have this feeling like that was it.
Yeah.
Like, you when you want something, when you're doing that, it's like you want that immediate action, because I mean you're doing there, putting yourself on the lines, right there,
Right.
and then to just go home and know that nothing really changed. It's
Right.
kind of like a feeling of real defeat.
So
So, but I'm gonna still go out.
so
Probably.
so I mean, Mike, has it been pretty crazy down there where you are?
First of all, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly.
Oh, perfect. What's up, y'all?
It's crazy.
No. I've been quarantining, so
Okay.
I can't really say how it's been in LA per se, but I can just tell by like the timelines that it feels different for sure. Like the responses have been overwhelmingly like it's not enough. It's like I think somebody said when you treat a cough, you're only treating a symptom. You're not treating the overall illness.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that like a lot of times we get used to treating the cough. It's like, oh yeah, so and so got murdered by a policeman, like indict him. You know what I mean? But this time, the police officer who killed George Floyd got charged with third degree murder and second degree manslaughter, and still not enough because that's the cough. That's
Mm-hmm.
the cough. You know what I'm saying? I think this time people are really intentional about being fixing the overall problem, which is the system at large.
So I'm not really a big conspiracy theorist because for my own mental, I can't fathom that there are all these other factors at play, and some of them might be real and some of them might be overblown. But like, I remember back when in the Bay Area, probably about 4 years ago, when there was a bunch of protests going on, and there were a lot of people that came down to Oakland from Portland, from just other areas, literally just trying to create more unrest. And we've been through a riot at Penn State together, right? And when when they removed Paterno. I mean, you remember how the news spun that as we were burning and flipping cars over, when in reality it was probably 2 or 3 people. And there were stories where people, the ESPN cameramen, were inciting crowds, talking about this is all you've got and stuff like that. So, I, like, I want to. I'm all down for supporting people. I don't know if protesting is the right way. It falls on deaf ears a lot of the time, and it also can get misconstrued because the media has such a huge power in how our society is. I can do more damage to myself than helping. I think. I'm not going to get into this because it's being recorded at this point, but I have to protect myself also, and I can't get in trouble.
Right.
Agreed. No, that's like one of the main things I did see. Was in Minneapolis, the police department. They came out and said, of all the arrests that were made, everyone was from out of state.
Right.
There was no St. Paul residents that were actually arrested. So you see it, and you keep hearing all these stories and watching a bunch of videos where the black people were out there peacefully protesting. I mean, I saw videos they were looting, but that was after the fact. They had people in uniform out there just causing unrest. And I understand the side of rioting, violence, like it doesn't solve anything, but it does bring awareness to a situation. But at the same time, what more is there to do? Because we've seen on the political agenda, voting, people say get out there and vote, get out there and vote, get out there and vote. But then everybody's asking the question, if everybody voted for Hillary, how did Trump win? You had Barack Obama, a black president. When you just look at America, people say the figurehead of America, the top point, the highest point you can be is the president.
Yeah.
We had the president, the country, and that changed nothing. So at this point, it's like you want to change the people in office, the laws, but that doesn't affect the police officers that are dealing with these communities on a day-to-day basis. So it's like you have to put in, it's like you got to put something that's going to affect police officers that are interacting with these communities on a day-to-day basis. Yes. So that when they're about to do something, the thought in their mind, not, oh, we have an elected official that after this guy gets killed, maybe I might get charged and maybe I might go to jail for the minimum amount of time and do 2 months and be out.
Right. The only place where I'm going to disagree with you is Obama being in the office didn't change anything. I would argue, and this is not directly because of what he did, but indirectly, I think Obama is the cause of all this. I think this raised a lot of deep-seated hatred towards African Americans, people of color. And once Obama hit the office and got reelected, I think these people started to want to make their voices heard a lot more. I mean, how many times in this past 4 years have you heard white people say, "I had no idea it was this bad," right? And like we've been saying this for so long. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
So I can agree right there, but I wouldn't say Obama was that cause. I think it was Trump's presidency.
Oh yeah, he gave them a voice.
He gave them a voice. When Obama was in office, I say that nothing really changed in terms of the view of a black man was still a black man. Right. It wasn't like, oh, a black man can be, a president just like a white man. It was more so the view never changed. Right. And then once Trump started that political agenda, everyone who was hiding behind that, oh yeah, we'll play the game. It was now this guy saying it, so I'm gonna go ahead and say it. And right. I think with Trump's election, the biggest thing that came from it was everybody know what side people are on now. Yeah. The lines of division became so clear.
I was going through Twitter yesterday and stupid. I was just getting so angry and I want to hear how y'all have been feeling, but honestly, I don't break a lot, but the last week and a half, I'd say, have been really, really, really tough. I think the one that set it over the edge for me was there was an incident that happened in San Diego, and it hasn't really been widely posted about, but it was a white cop being Go ahead. So it was a white cop being very aggressive with a black kid. As seamlessly, he was just standing on the corner waiting for his friends to pick him up. And from the video, it looks like this cop is like being extra physical with him. He ends up arresting him for no apparent reason. And it turned out I knew the cop. I had met the cop before, and that made it real for me because I that cop is not a bad person. Like none of my sensors ever went off when I met that person. I didn't know him I knew him before he became a cop, but that shit kind of set it over the edge for me because it made it real, right? Like you're like, oh, there's these racist cops out there doing that, but then you had this cop in San Diego just seamlessly just he was basically getting taunted by this person and he lost his cool. Which if we lose our cool, we get reprimanded and that's about it. If this cop loses his cool, now this kid has to go through the entire legal process because this cop was having an ego trip, right? Now this kid is going to probably be released from prison because he was arrested for no reason, but now he has all of these legal issues. All he's in the system now, and
psychological issues of just even getting arrested, the trauma of literally having somebody grab you up, put you in a cop car, and then you got to go to jail, and now you in jail.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I get it.
So that one was the one that kind of broke me. And then everything else is adding on top. It's like, it's hard, man. Like it's hard. I have to put on my face at work. Y'all know I work in corporate America. I'm not sure where you work nowadays, Kim, but I have to put that face on. And I think I've done a really good job at putting that face on. I've worked really hard, but this past week, man, I got called out at work. Someone said, "You look grumpy." And I was like, you don't understand what the fuck's going on?
What's there to be grumpy about, you know?
Use the word grumpy. That's crazy.
I mean, I can speak on a few situations. So honestly, this week I was working out and I was doing crunches and I shed like 3 tears.
Mm.
And the reason why, like, my thought process was crazy because I was thinking with George Floyd going on, what physically can I do as a person to end racism? And I had no answer. And that feeling of just being completely powerless, it was just like, damn. Like, what else is there?
I've felt hopeless all week, man. Mike, you gotta shed some light here on us, man. Like I've felt helpless all week, and I haven't felt like this in a long time.
Yeah, bro. I mean, it's loaded, bro. Like, to end racism, right? I've been doing what I can to kind of like take myself. I feel everything that everybody feels. Obviously, it goes without saying. I'm a black man in America. This is directly related to what happened to me and all of the people that I love who look like me. For solution purposes, though, I was like, how can I take myself out of this and look at it from a bird's eye view and figure out a solution? And one of the things that I thought about was like, what is racism? And to answer that question, you have to ask, what is race? And race was created by white people to differentiate and distinct themselves in classes to protect their superiority and their longevity. And so when we got to America, as African slaves, eventually we were classed as Negro, as black, as nigger, or whatever you call it. They labeled us. And we accepted those labels partly because we didn't have any other power in the situation. But when we accepted those labels, we flipped it to make something that was supposed to marginalize us into something that's powerful, right? So the same way with nigger, they called us nigger, we call ourselves niggas, right? We flipped it to make it something powerful. They called us, what we don't all the time realize is like they called us black first as a class. Mm. But black the class got flipped into black the culture, right? So racism is tricky because I think to end racism, we have to kind of have an ego death about what race actually is. And that's like a very, I don't know, I think that's a very like broad and like kind of hard thing to grasp, because we are proud and we do identify with being Black. But that's, while we are that, we have to understand that it came from their concept. And as long as we play into their concepts and constructs, we're going to be in the cycle. We're going to keep repeating the cycle. And that's just like a thought for everybody to chew on. That's not necessarily a solution. But when I do think about solutions, two things came to mind. One, the problem is policing, right? Is racism within policing. It's hard for us. It's going to be hard for us to like audit every police department in every district of the country to weed out all the KKK members that are in there, that are actually using the police force as protection for them to do harm to Black people legally through the taxpayer dollar. That's where we're at right now.
But here's the thing. One of my biggest things I learned about America at Penn State is not everybody has that hatred. You know, some of it stems from literally just ignorance. Like I remember people telling me I'm the first Black person they've ever met, and they literally did not treat me the same as everybody else because they didn't know how to treat me. That cop I just described down in San Diego, there's no way that the guy is racist. I know his really good friends. Like, there's no way that guy is racist. That guy had a power trip. And so there's two things at play. There's ignorance. There's the power. There's the power where I have this gun. I have, I have the big dick. Like, you need to listen to me. And then there are the racist cops too. There's so much. There's so much, man.
I think it's a twofold issue.
Okay.
So one being the police in America, two being the racism in America.
Mm-hmm.
And then the subdivision is the racist cops in America. So, I mean, it's still the same thing. But so my solution with the police, this is just something I always say. If a cop, if they made it like an actual law, legislation, put it into practice, if a police officer shoots an unarmed civilian, minimum 10 years in jail. Mm-hmm. Minimum. If they are unarmed and you shoot them, and they, for whatever reason, minimum of 10 years in jail. What that does, that gives an automatic on the ground, now you got a gun in your hand, you're going to think twice. Because that's not legislation. That's not an elected official. That's you in your everyday job. You pull your gun, now you're going to think, am I going to do 10 years for this?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Racism in America as a whole, the solution for that just has to be, one, identifying it. Everyone has to 100% admit there is racism. There can't be this whole, oh yeah, like let's use sub speak. We'll call some people thugs. We'll call some people nice people. No, there has to be the clear identification and acceptance that there is racism, and then working to properly dismantle those systems. So the prison system, education, all the discrepancies in wealth economics, access to those things. All of that needs to change. So those are two things that literally, if they happen, the effect would have long-lasting impression. Those are things you can do immediately. Because what I see and what I hear, it's a lot of, oh yeah, we're rioting. You shouldn't be rioting. We're doing this. We shouldn't be doing that. But it's never the cops are killing people and that's the issue. Like you said, Mike, we're always dealing with the cause. We're always dealing with the effect. We're never dealing with the cause. The reason why we're rioting is because people are being gunned down in the street by civilians who are given 8 months of training and then are said, hey, you are above the law, and it's your job to now enforce it.
Wow.
So just the concept of even, like everyone says, oh, you're in a situation with the police. You need to learn how to de-escalate. Why is it my job as a citizen with a police officer coming up to me on a power trip, it's my job to then de-escalate.
Kim, you're like you're 6'5" too. I mean, right? 6'4", 6'5". I mean, like
But
by
I've had, I'll tell you two instances that have completely shaken my views on racism and the police. One, the police. I live on a one-way street. I'm walking back from brunch. It's 11 o'clock in the afternoon. I got on. I'm wearing all black. I wear black all the time, literally. I got black pants, black shirt, black jacket.
right.
I'm walking from brunch to my house. I see a cop car drive down the block, and then he backs up. And I see him come down a one-way the wrong way. And in my mind, I'm laughing. I'm like, yo, these cops don't fuck. I was like, yo, these dudes don't care about the law. And the next thing I know, like, both of them jump out of the car, guns drawn, pointed at me. It took me like literally 3 seconds to register that like the guns are literally on me and they think I did something. Because like I'm just laughing about, yo, these dudes got no respect, they don't care, and then they got guns on me. Show us your hands, show us your hands. I'm like, what is this about? They're not saying anything. Show us your hands, show us your hands. Mind you, my hands are in my pocket. So now I start freaking out because I don't want to take my hands out too quick.
Right.
So this guy saying, show us your hands. I'm telling him, listen, I got my cell phone. I'm putting my hands up, but please don't shoot me. I put both my hands up. Both officers approach me. One grabs my arm. I pull away. He says, don't pull away. I'm like, what's this about? Where's your ID? I go to reach for my ID. Don't reach. If you reach, you're gonna get shot. So this is how people get shot. When they tell you, oh, you're in a situation with the police, people are telling you 8 different things and doing the complete opposite. And it puts you in a situation that every move is the wrong move. Right. So they are completely justified that when you do pull away and they shoot you, it's completely justified. I'm like, you know what? Go ahead and grab my ID out of my pocket. They take it, run my ID. I'm telling the officers, I'm like, listen, I don't know what this is about. I just came from brunch. I now sit down and stuff. I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. Do what you guys need to do. Run my stuff. That it comes up, and you know, I'm like, I got nothing to do with this. As I'm sitting there, the other officer, he's like, yeah, man, we just got a call about armed robbery. And I was like, well, I mean, I was at brunch. Like, what's that got to do with me? He said, well, we got to call the suspect black man wearing a black jacket with a beard.
It's like everybody.
And I was just looking at him like, if somebody told you, like, to go pick somebody out of a crowd and that was the description they gave you, you're telling me you didn't ask for anything else? In South Philadelphia, where every black guy is wearing a black coat and has a beard.
They said black man, black coat? All right, so say no more. We got it. We'll find him.
Got him. So it's like, and I understand because these dudes came out of the car and they were completely scared. They're not operating off of, oh yeah, we're gonna enforce the law. These dudes are scared. The way they're moving, the way everything about the situation was just fear. Mm-hmm. And it's like, for that to happen, and then afterwards they're just like, all right, here's your ID, go about your day. I was shook. I walked into my house, bro, I shed tears. Because I was like, yo, if I moved wrong, I would have got shot. This isn't like these guns were pointed at me. For what? For literally the color of my skin. So when people say, oh yeah, the rate, like that's what it is. If this dude now had the thought, all right, if I'm gonna do 10 years, you think his approach would have been different? He would have said, yo, let me talk to you first. Didn't even say anything like that. Yo, let me talk to you. It was just straight up out of the car on a one-way, gun drawn. So when people say, oh yeah, interacting with the police, it's not a problem. It's a problem with cops and it's a problem with racism. Because both of those contributed to why I was treated the way I was treated.
Great. And to add on, man, first of all, thank you for sharing that story, bro, because we all have that story at some point. And I hate to generalize that, but I have a similar one. You said it for both of us.
No, if you feel comfortable sharing it, I'd love to hear it, man. I think people need to hear it. That's the thing is I know it's too generalized. Like this shouldn't happen to all of us. This has happened to me too. This shouldn't happen to all of us.
Yeah, man. Well, it was actually a very similar story to Kim. Like literally, so I'm in Queens, New York, up there seeing a nice lady, and and I'm driving my mom's white Lexus. Dun dun dun. And basically, me and homegirl go into the car, and I see a cop, and we're parked on, again, a one-way street. A cop actually drives past, sees me in the windshield, reverses on the one-way. And I was like, oh, that's odd. So before I even before I turn my car on, I'm surrounded by police. And they're like, they don't have their guns drawn, but they have on the holster. They have their hands on the holster, and was like, yo, this car has been reported stolen. I need you to step out the car. And I was like, the funny thing about it was I didn't necessarily, I don't know, two things went through my mind. I didn't overreact because I knew they were lying, but because the car wasn't stolen, 100% my car. So that part, their accusation didn't actually shake me. It was just the situation, the fact that you can pull up on somebody like that or something and make it right in their mind and justify whatever they want to do to me, depending on how I reacted or not. So I was just like, sir, the car is mine. The car is not stolen. The car is not stolen. Here's my license, registration, boom, boom. My tone of voice wasn't necessarily like that. I did remain calm, but I didn't react like the fuck, because I had a woman next to me.
Mm-hmm.
There was two cops in the front. I mean, on the left side, on the right side, and behind me. And I just peeped the game, and I was like, if I was by myself, I don't know how I'd be reacting right now, and I don't know what would happen due to that reaction, because they came up to me with the intent to make me a criminal.
Can I ask you two questions?
Yeah.
Are your windows tinted?
No.
And was the race of this woman white?
No.
Okay.
No.
I was thinking, no, because my dad has had an experience in which he got pulled over simply because he had a white woman in the car in a convertible.
Yeah. It wasn't the thing about the woman. The woman actually saved my life. More obligation to protect her in this situation than express myself how I was actually feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I thank her all the time for that, because I don't know what would have happened.
Mm-hmm.
But
and there's one thing you said in there, that they came up and they were just gonna act based off how you reacted. And right. I think that's like the other thing that a lot of policing is. A lot of times, they don't got shit on you, but they'll just wait for somebody to run, and then boom, there we go. There's the charges. It's like, why'd you run? It's like, why wouldn't I? I had nothing on. And it's just like, okay, then they build the case. It's like, what was the probable cause? There was none. But boom, because somebody pulls up on you, now it's like I just saw the video with the two guys in the parking lot, and the officers grabbing the guy by the arm, and he pushes him down. He's like, yo, what are you touching me? And he's like, literally grabbing him, but he's like pushing him at the same time. And with that, it's like, then he says, you're going to jail for assault. And it's like, what's that based off? His reaction.
It's like, in general, it's like police actions lead.
Or the cause. Yeah, you never will see what incited that action. It's like, say they got the murder charges I just saw a woman was charged for shooting at police. Why was she shooting at the police? Because they came to her door and they have a warrant, and she thought they were robbing the place.
Right.
Like but then they won't put that in the news, but then they'll arrest the woman. Now, mind you, same story. The police went to a black woman's house, saw her in the window, no knock warrant, shot the woman, killed her in the bed. Nobody got arrested.
Oh yeah.
So how is it? So why is like that is what people see, and it's just like, man, there's no change that's being made, because the police are literally doing whatever they want. People are seeing it, not agreeing with it, and then you'll have a medical examiner come up and say, oh, no, that wasn't the cause of death. Same thing with George Floyd. They're saying that the knee on the back of the neck wasn't the cause of death. They said he had hypertension, pre-existing condition. I said those conditions were fine until the knee. He was living with them. He had no issues with those conditions. They were fine. So it's like, take the accountability. There's no accountability. And then when we see things like this, and then we say, oh, yeah, the cop got arrested. There were 4 other officers. They only arrested 1.
So now part two. Now the media has like because you brought it up. This is the first time I've ever heard anybody else bring it up other than in my own mind. Killer Mike said it this morning or yesterday, I believe, about CNN has a responsibility, and just all the media has a responsibility to report honestly, and B, like, y'all got to stop sensationalizing everything, right? Like the race issue in America is never going to be better if people, because a lot of people still live their life based off of what's happening in the news. Now I'm at the point where I don't watch that shit unless it's for entertainment purposes purely. But a lot of people still live their lives based off of what Tommy Lorraine tells them, or whatever Fox News tells them, or whatever CNN tells them. Like even MSNBC, like all these news agencies have stopped just reporting, and they all have to put a fucking spin on it, which sensationalizes what's going on and benefits off people's fears. Like they need to stop that.
The news media is a money market. And this is actually something that I saw on Twitter the other day. Somebody was like, why do Chinese people hate black people? They've had no interaction with them. There's no there's no real reason. Like Africans have never really gone out of their way to do anything to Chinese people of Asian descent. And the reply was based on, they just watched the American media. And the American media said that black people were lazy, stupid, cruel, like all the stereotypes. And then that's what they just based it off of. And that's why the racism exists. And you see it, it's like media, even with the riots. I just watched another video to compare when Penn State won a football game versus when people are protesting for their lives. And it's like, you see the same actions. You see couches on fire, maybe with Penn State even. They were breaking down street lamps. It was like people were doing all that. There's destruction. But then when it's for a game, it's, oh yeah, things got out of hand. People were acting out. It was just, people celebrating. But then when it's, oh, thugs, they're vandalizing, they're looting, they're destroying their homes. And it's like, why not keep the story? You see the reporting is developed. It's creating that division.
Right.
People see that and consume it. And that goes along the lines of America has to admit that there's a problem with racism. And with that admission, that would be part of the news media.
So what you said about China, I mean, I have tons of stories growing up because obviously I'm half Ethiopian and my dad is black. My mom's born in Ethiopia. And I remember all the time going to people's houses of Ethiopians and hearing, oh, you're one of the good ones, right? Like, oh, you're one of the good ones, talking about black people. And I would ask them, like, Mom, why do Ethiopians not like black people, right? And it's literally because of the depiction that we have on the TV that they're getting back in Ethiopia, and they think we're bad and they're pure and they're good.
Yeah, they don't see it because what do they see on the news? Every time you see black people on the news, it's violence, rioting, thug, mugshot. I'm watching a number of videos of the protests. One, the people destroying things are white. The people cleaning up are black. And there's no reporting on that. There's no major news circulation on the arrest of everyone being from out of state. You never hear that. But the news media will take one story and run with it forever. But these stories that are literally the truth and what could help with the racism in America. So my thing was Amy Cooper.
Yeah.
So that was the beginning in terms of weaponizing the police. And for, white people to say, oh, I don't believe that racism exists, but then to understand how to effectively and efficiently weaponize the police is just something that, again, has to come into, there's no way we're going to get rid of racism if people aren't honest with racism existing.
Yeah. That bothered me a lot. And then I tweeted about it, obviously, so you saw it. But like the spinoff of that is the amount of people that shared their outrage towards how she treated her dog
Hey,
versus.
dog.
Oh my God! Like, listen, I don't hate dogs, but like when you have like, you gotta give me that same energy. You
Mike
like,
Vick has done more time in jail than every officer convicted that was seen murdering a person of color on film in 2017.
so why? Let me ask why? Because I honestly, you have a dog, so you obviously have a love for animals. I cannot understand how people can place some sort of empathy for an animal over black human beings. I don't understand that.
I
Mike,
mean,
if you have an answer, you step in here too.
because you've seen the culture, you've seen the history. There are literal. When's the last time you've seen a picture of a dog being hung anywhere or a dog fight? You can't Google dog fight video and find one on Google. But what do we see constantly? Black people getting killed in the street, like animals. Literally, you can find a video, like George Floyd, a 10-minute video of this man being murdered in the street is everywhere. But you don't see videos of dogs getting in fights.
Right.
So because the black man has been reduced to less than an animal, there's no question about it. People do it like the way they're literally. If that dog was a pit bull, I guarantee nobody would have cared.
I agree.
Mike Vick has done more time in jail than police officers are getting for killing people on tape.
Federal prison.
Federal prison. And you can be a police officer and kill a human being on tape and get 6 years, you off in a couple months. And that's if they want to charge you. That's the thing. We're in a society where everyone keeps saying, oh, yeah, we got to get these cops arrested. We got to charge them. We got to charge them. You know how many times cops have been killing people and then it's, oh, it's justified. It's justified. And then what do? We're upset and then it's business as usual. Yeah. Eric Garner's killers, did they go to jail?
No.
Yeah. Business as usual. The white cop who killed this dude, what did she get? Like what? 6 years, not even?
Right, 5. My life changed in terms of having hope in the justice system or whatever when Adam Zimmerman got off for killing. I remember I watched that trial specifically because I just graduated college. I didn't have a job yet, so I watched that trial every day, and I could not believe that he got off for killing Trayvon Martin. Like, clearly murdered this kid, and a jury of mothers couldn't empathize enough to understand that was murder.
He's a black kid. And guess what? White women, they see a black kid, they be like, nah, don't hang out with him. He'll bring your life down.
Yeah.
This man was told by police, do not pursue him. And he still did it. A citizen, literally, just a guy with a gun, said, I'm going to go ahead and do it. Another thing we're not talking about, these cops that shot the jogger Amadou.
Oh, my God.
We haven't even gotten to that yet. People are sitting here talking about George Floyd. These two guys were running around for 2 months and no one did anything about it.
Right, until the video surfaced. Yeah.
So people are saying, oh, yeah, all these riots. That's the one thing in particular, Killer Mike's video. I watched it. It made so much sense. But it makes so much sense if we're living in a system that would actually do something if we changed it.
Mm-hmm.
Because what's the point of putting good people in a system that's broken? If the system is broken, we need to make a new system.
System, man. So like there's two aspects that Kim mentioned. It's policing and racism, and it's the acknowledgement of both of those things being functional in America. That's literally the best place you can start. You know what I'm saying? We have to have a goal, and our goal collectively is to reconstruct the system and reconstruct the culture of racism. Now, let's do one at a time. With the system, we have to understand how the system works. And during this quarantine, man, like with it being an election year, I actually spent a lot of time on this YouTube channel called it's called Crash Course, and it's produced by PBS. And there is a playlist about how government works. And I crammed that whole entire playlist. And basically, it's like this. The federal government's broken up into 3 sections. It's the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have time to get into it all the way, but basically, Congress makes the laws. The judiciary system makes sure that they're legal and the president approves them. You know what I'm saying? But then it breaks down on a local level. All states in America are governed by their own presidents called the governors.
Mm-hmm.
And every district in those states are governed by mayors, but they're also represented by the House of Representatives. So I say all this to say, like, I don't mean to like go into it too deeply. All I am trying to illustrate is to understand how we change the system. We really have to educate ourselves on how the pre-existing broken racist system works and how it came to be. And then we take our steps and go from there. You know what I'm saying? Like, because the thing is, my wish, my dream for solving our police problem is I have 3 points. 1, change how police are trained. 2, if you can't audit racist cops out of the system, you have to at least build a black unit, a black department within the police force that counteracts these the racist cops that police black neighborhoods. You know what I'm saying? If there was a black unit police force that was responsible for black communities, then we wouldn't have racist cops having to interact with black people in ways that they're not trained naturally or professionally. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like how the Black Panthers were intended to be, but it wasn't supported by the government. The world wasn't necessarily ready for that. And they were like on some, it was like a fight. You know what I'm saying? It was like this side versus that side. What I'm suggesting is like within the system, have a Black Panther-esque task force in every department that's responsible for Black people, that's supported by the government, that's funded, that, you know.
Or even a local, or even like more of a local feel, right? Not having some cop from doesn't give a shit about the neighborhood area, because I don't know if a race, because I've seen tons of, the cop was Asian that stood there and watched that kid, that cop, you know, and I don't know if there's, I think I'm gonna let you finish your 3rd point, but I don't know if the race aspect, we don't defend each other like we should be. Right. in this country.
Well, however it needs to happen to train a specific force,
right,
to police cultural neighborhoods and districts, I think that would help, because white people who don't love people or who are racist have an agenda. We can't. KKK is already embedded into the system in every different level of our government, mm-hmm. of our state. Mm-hmm. If we can create a different subset that governs or that polices Black folks and communities, then we wouldn't have those tensions as much. Mm-hmm. The 3rd point is, Kim made a great, I'm gonna put Kim's point as the 3rd point, where there should be like a maximum of like 10 years for anybody who gets shot that's unarmed. That point sticks. In addition to that, the 4th point would be, there should be an increased, there should be like an increased level of civil duty or permission, or we should be empowered. Citizens should be empowered to stop police crime if they're about that life. You know what I'm saying? Because I think about the guy who was holding the phone. Mm-hmm. I think about all the iPhone photo video journalists out there who've been broadcasting these murders. The best that they feel like they can do is capture this, share it with the world, and bring attention to it after the fact. Mm-hmm. after we lost a life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying we should be protected by law to intervene if there is an officer on a George Floyd's neck for 8 minutes.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. Yeah. We should, and I think that's the one reason that people didn't react, because, like you said, if it's on tape, that's justice.
Right.
But we've seen, even now, because what was the concept of body cams? The body cam was supposed to be, all right, yeah, we got it on tape now. You see the officer commit the crime, he's going to jail.
They got this shit on tape and they still get off.
Exactly.
It's
So
crazy.
now it's like we have the iPhone, we have the cameras, and it's like, man, we get this on tape, he'll go to jail. And it's crazy that even with it on tape, there's still this delay of, did he actually kill him? Did he actually kill him? And now there's these questions. And I'm seeing there's videos of people in Baltimore. They're done with it. A cop tried to grab a dude, and they just started swinging on the cop. And the thing is, you could say that, like, that's the world I want to live in, where if I see that. But the world that we live in now, the fear is that cop is going to turn around and bang. He's going to shoot you. And then
or his team.
It could be on tape. And what do they say? You were aggressive. You charged the cop. So if we had that in combination, perfect world, you got the 10-year set. If that 10 years was in there, boom. Anybody. If you see something happening, if I saw somebody, if I knew a cop would go to jail for 10 years minimum and I see him kneeling on George Floyd's neck, I'm not taping anything. I'm slapping that dude in the face. I don't care. But the fact that I know, the fact that everybody, I don't doubt. I don't doubt the people watching that. There's one gentleman in there, he's literally screaming at the cop, Officer Tal, do your job, do your job. Do I doubt he would have done the same? No. But I know what he was thinking. If I do this, I'm going to die.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's the bigger issue. Take it to yourselves now. Like, what can we do, right? Like, Kim, you talked about you felt helpless. I felt hopeless. Like, what can we do at this point? We can ask things of our coworkers and we can ask things of our friends that are white and brown and Asian or whatever. But what can we do?
Well, I mean, honestly, I'm thinking about, like, maybe even just, like, seeing what sort of politics I can get into, like, locally. I was just thinking about just going to some meetings around my community, because all bullshit aside, like, I don't want to leave this earth. It's crazy. I don't even like thinking about death, but literally that's all there is. It's just death and death. And, like, the last thing that you want to do is just, like, all right, when I'm gone, what impact did he make? And honestly, that's the only place that I could see something happening, because it's either I have to change my community or I have to get the weapon and hopefully, like, you do something that's so outrageous that it changes the culture forever. And that's why people, like, literally in America right now, they feel like they have to burn down a Target, because what else is there? We're at the point now that we've done everything. We've elected people. We go out and vote. We do that. And what's changed?
Mm-hmm.
The same things we saw in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. We're in a whole new decade now. And guess what? We're starting 2010, same thing. The 2010, 2020, we're about to start it off.
Mm-hmm.
People are still getting killed in the street, in front of people. Nothing's being done. And then instead of coming together as a community and say, you know what, we're tired of it. I completely understand why people are rioting. But guess what? We need to stop killing people. You got black people on TV saying, oh, well, you guys should be rioting. You guys should be doing something else. You guys should be doing something else. The fact that you were born and this was a problem, and you're living and this is a problem, and you're going to die and this is still going to be a problem. Maybe the solution that you're trying to do ain't the solution that's going to change it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, for you to sit there and criticize people that have had enough, and this is the only way they see something possible, it just sort of diminishes when people say, "Oh yeah, this is the saying that I hate." Think about what would George Floyd think about people doing this, and it's like he probably wouldn't give a fuck, because if he could think right now, he would be alive.
Right.
Because George Floyd didn't ask to be a martyr. George Floyd didn't ask to get killed by police. George Floyd didn't ask to become the face of Black Lives Matter. So for you to sit there and use his name as a reason why people should not revolt is really dishonoring his death.
Or Martin Luther King. People use Martin Luther King's name all the time. He was killed.
White people love what did Martin Luther King say? He was peaceful. He was peaceful. And for as peaceful as he was, guess what? He'll kill them. So what is it? You say, oh yeah, peaceful protest. Kaepernick took a knee. Get that son of a bitch out of here.
Lost his job.
Lost his job, his career. So what is the solution? Because obviously the solutions people keep giving are not working. And guess what seems to work? When you burn down a fucking Target, people start listening. So if the whole world is on fire, people are going to listen. And at this point, we sit here and watch. America loves to sit there and watch other countries. Oh, yeah, we support the people. We support the people. Support France. Support Chile. Support the protesters. Support them all. Support them all. And people are in front of you, literally begging just to be treated like human beings. And y'all sit here saying, oh, man, why would you be burning down buildings? What does that solve?
My homie in Australia sent me a satirical, because they call it satire over there, a picture. It's all the way in fucking Australia, man. It says, the quote is, "Writings over the top," says the man that took an AR-15 to town hall because he wanted a haircut. Like, what? Australians have the joke.
Right? And people are trying to say, oh, well, they brought the guns there, but they were peaceful about it. Did you see the police response? Was there any police shields? No. Was there any tear gas? No. Was there any rubber bullets? No. Was there any police even armored with a helmet? No.
No.
Black people, George Floyd was killed. What did they do? They just started saying, no justice, no peace. What's the response? Get the shields, get the guns, get the helmets. This dude is looking you in the face. He's got a gun in his hand, and you're sitting there saying, man, I'm chilling. But this lady's got a sign, and you sitting there saying, man, we got to shoot her till she's dead, and you shooting rubber bullets.
Killing people with rubber bullets, too.
Make it make sense. Like, that's like, this whole country is just based on people who don't want to face the facts of racism in this country.
That's crazy.
If it was a clear minutes and people saying there is a problem with racism in this country, guess what? People would all shut up and be like, damn, I guess we got to listen now. But the problem is people are trying to say, oh, no, there's no problem with racism. I'm not racist. I don't do racist things. There's no racism. People are rioting for no reason. But it keeps happening. If it's not a problem, why does it keep happening?
Yeah, and it's always these times also that I always lose two or three, not friends. I don't have a lot of friends, but two or three people that, you know, I've let into my life, at least, just because I can't believe the takes that they've had on this stuff. Mike, go ahead. Sorry, Kim.
No, I'm just saying, that's the thing. You take an opinion, you take a stance on something that should be so clear cut and defined.
Yeah.
Like, don't kill black people. Racism is wrong.
Well, he shouldn't have been. Well, he.
And it's like, damn. I thought it was easy. I thought it would be easy. I'm giving you the layup. Just say it. Racism is wrong.
Like, why is that so hard for you to say?
Why? John Boyega. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I posted it. He said, fuck racist white people. People coming in his mentions talking about something. Well, that's pretty strong words, don't you? What? Like, it's like, why are people always so quick to defend it, but they will never be quick to defend somebody like George Floyd? Oh, well, he shouldn't have done. No, the man had a knee on his neck. Inexcusable. It's always but.
Mike, how what's your response to what you can do?
So I think that's an individual question for wherever you sit in this circumstance, right? Like, everybody's not going to react the same way, and you shouldn't condemn if you're in a black community or if you're a black ally, you're gonna react to this in a different way. I'm not necessarily going to be the one rioting, but I'm also not going to say that the people who are rioting are wrong. Because if you burn down a Target, it doesn't seem like Target had anything to do with it or whatever, right? But at the same time, you have to bring awareness to corporate America. The people with money have to care. And when you start burning property, people are going to listen.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not promoting this, but I'm also not saying that it's wrong just because it's not what I'm going to do. But I think that the black community in general, wherever you are, needs to be unified, and we need to be activated in our realms, right? Like when you have like let's take the Army for example. The Army is made up of a lot of different sectors. There are people who are about that life and are on the front lines. There are also people who are diplomatic, and while people are fighting, the executives and the leaders are talking to the other side like, we don't want to be here right now, guys, but we do want to have this solution fixed. You know what I'm saying? So while there are going to be warriors, they're also going to rise leaders and everybody in between. So I feel like as a leader, that's the position that I'm taking. You know what I'm saying? My responsibility is to continue to connect and bridge together people in high places, black, white, everybody who's on the side of like peace, humanity, and like forward progress for the world. Because at the same time, like white people don't want the world to burn down because black people are showing that they will. So it's like, I'm saying so much, man. Like,
but you haven't said like how does Mike Wallz, how do you move from this tomorrow? I mean, like we're at a point right now where we can't continue to be the same people that we've been every day. Like I think for the most part, all three of us have taken a shit's fucked up, but things will get better kind of point of view. I think.
Well, so check this out. My powers rest in my ability to mass communicate. You know what I'm saying? I'm at the epicenter of entertainment in both sports, music, and film.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, I have the power to unify artists, executives, producers, filmmakers, writers, athletes, coaches, and everybody in that world has the most influence over the culture.
True.
You know what I'm saying? So like, one of the things that I'm going to do and I'm doing is continuing to be a light in those communities and continue to be a connector in those communities so that we can not necessarily when the dust settles, but as the fire is brewing, there has to be something in a direction and a sense of leadership that takes us to a solution, whether that's communicating to the masses in ways that people can't deny through music, through films, through just cultural staples, through even even white people who have power, creating music on our behalf. A lot of what we have to do too is like accept our white allies. You know what I mean? Like they're the ones who kind of have to change and have to like make the shift and accept the fact that racism exists and accept the fact they don't want to live in that world anymore. Mm-hmm. We can't feed into racism so much that we end up rejecting everybody who's not our race and not.
Mm-hmm. That's the same. That's racism. That's the same thing. Cam, you seem stressed right now, though.
Oh man. So a few points. So Mike said that the people with money have to care. I 100% agree with that because racism. Everybody black. Dave Chappelle said it. He was like, black people didn't know about racism, but once they ran out of times, they're like, oh my God, honey, did you hear about they're beating up black people like hotcakes? Like, and that's true. Like, black people, we know this is a problem. The problem is we have to get the white people in power to understand that this is a real problem. Because they don't think it's a problem. The executives have to know it's a problem. So,
or don't care.
Yeah, it's not that big of an issue because it's not affecting them.
Right.
But now that your store is burning down, you see it's affecting you. Why? Because if this racism keeps on happening and this is how people keep reacting and my stores keep getting burned down, well, then somebody's going to do something. And then the second thing that Mike said that really keyed on was, what are you going to do about racism? It's sort of the white people's issue. Racism is always asked to the black community, what will you do to fight racism? What can we do to really fight racism?
That's the thing. That's the reason why I asked those, because I know from experience and history, you cannot expect anything from somebody else. And this is the biggest problem. This would be so much easier if we had allies, but we can't rely on them, and we can't depend on them. That's my look. That's my outlook. That's not your, and that's not you signing off. That's me. I'm saying I've learned I cannot rely on somebody else to have my back.
Okay, and I can understand that. I think when I say I don't mean it as I'm expecting white people to help with racism in a sense of help us solve it. Racism is a problem white people have created.
Right.
It's their issue to fix altogether.
Right.
Black people and as the person affected by racism, we cannot say how are we going to end what is affect. It's a matter of them. So the concept, and I think that's where black people are stuck in right now, is we're looking at ourselves to come up with the answer that the power isn't even in our hands to answer that. We are being oppressed. We are being rained down upon by an enemy, and we're looking at, how we need to either defeat the enemy in itself, or the enemy itself needs to change its thinking and realize that we are in fact not the enemy.
Right.
So,
And
go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I don't know. I forgot what I was going to say, but you're 100% correct.
That's where I'm at with it, because my whole thing on white allies, I understand there are white allies, they exist, but there are also people that will be cool with you 1 minute and literally call the police on you the next. Like Amy Cooper, I've had that happen to me in real life. We used to be friends. We were friends for a couple of years. We actually met at Penn State. And this particular night, literally, he stays with us over the weekends and everything. He was literally staying on my couch that night. We're walking home from the bar. He's drunk talking about something. And I was just like, yo, I just kind of want to walk in silence. I don't want to hear. it was just more like one of those, yo, man, I don't really hear it. Things escalate to the point of me saying, if you touch me, I'm going to hit you, which I was then touched. And then I responded. I said, yo, if you touch me, I'm going to hit you.
Right.
So I hit him. And he looks at me and he goes, oh, that was a pussy-ass punch. You know what? I'm going to call the cops. So I said, all right. What did I do? I said, you're going to call the police. I'm going to go home. So what did I do? I started walking home. Starts chasing me down the street. Yo, what are you doing? Why don't you talk to me? What's the problem? I said, you just called the police on me.
He called?
Yeah, he called. He picked up the phone. He picked up the phone, and this is the conversation. Hello? Yeah. I'm standing on Broad and something. I was just assaulted by a black man.
Get the fuck out of here, bro. I'm
now a black man. That's why this whole ally, you know my name. You know who I am. But now I'm just a black guy who just assaulted you on the phone. So I'm walking home. As I'm walking away, he's now, oh, what are you doing? Come on, talk to me. I'm like, you don't understand. You just put my life at risk. I got to go. I'm not going to be here. What you just did is inexcusable. You're on the phone, some black guy. So that's what I am to you. It's just some black guy. So as I'm now literally walking away, he keeps coming after me. Now to the point he's grabbing me. Talk to me. Why don't you fucking talk to me? Had to hit him again. Left him in the street. Went home. Next day he comes back. He went and got stitches on his face. He's like, yeah, man, I told the cops, they're coming for you. They're looking for you. I said, all right. Are they here? I said, you called the police. Why'd you call the cops? He said, because you were out of control and somebody needed to control you. Mm. So the entire situation, I'm telling you, don't touch me. You're touching me. I'm now walking away from you. You're not following me. I'm telling you, get off me. You're grabbing me. You're holding, like, we're literally in the middle of the street and you're grabbing onto me. And now I'm defending myself. And then after all that, you come toward me. You're still saying, oh, yeah, the reason why I did it was to control you. And you don't hear the language you're using and how what you've done has literally, like you didn't call the police because, oh, man, you got hit in the face.
Right.
First off, we're friends. Like, we've known each other for years.
Right.
I know people that have been in way worse fights, and dudes wake up the next day, and it's like, man,
we we overreacted.
Like, oh, man, sorry, my fault. Like, and this wasn't like, oh, man, I'm beating him in the street. This is, yo, man, don't touch me, and I hit him.
Right.
So this is like the next day, shit would have been gravy. Then you call the cops.
Right.
And listening to you describe me as some black guy.
Oh, yeah.
And then afterwards, you hang up the phone, you're asking me, why can't I just talk? Why don't I just do this? And it's like, you had those chances to have a conversation.
Right, some black guy. He could have said, I'm in a fight with my friend. I'm in an altercation. He could have.
Like, literally some black guy.
Yeah, so, that's fucked up.
After that, the conversation was done. Like, I saw him one time after that. I was just like, yo, you know what? It is what it is. I don't have to be super negative. I'm not gonna like scream at you or anything, but I'll be cordial. But that's where, like, I've seen people that your best friend, we're doing this, and then drop of a hat, they'll turn on you. So I don't expect anybody to be my ally. That's why even a crazy thought that I had, when the cops were out front of my house and the cops came over with guns on me, I was like, damn, you know what's crazy? All my neighbors probably were looking out the window.
Exactly.
And saw me and didn't think to come out and say, oh, no, we know him, like, to help us and stuff. But then on the other hand, it's also so selfish to be like expecting somebody to put their life on the line for me.
Right. Or you probably had some neighbors that were like, I knew it. Just seeing, oh, I knew it.
So it's like, what that help is not coming. So unless it's from myself, unless I'm going to be that change, unless like I'm actively out here, I'm not expecting anything to get done.
And it's like all that you just described and all that Mike is describing and like all the things that I've had to happen, like all that on top of that. And then you have to be a human being. Like you got to have a relationship with your significant other or work. And if it's just, it's funny because you always got to sum it up to like one sentence every time. They're like, oh, what's wrong? It's like, America. Like, I don't, like, what else do you want me to say?
I'm black. Like, black experience. I forget what movie it was, but the little kid is like, would you rather live to be 100 and black or 100 and black? Yeah. Or 50 and white. I just walked out of the room. Like, the black experience in America is like no other. My job, corporate America, I remember, I'll never forget this. I tweeted about this. I got the tweet. I'll find it. When I was wearing a hoodie at work. I remember I walked into this lady's office. She looked me in the eye. I watched her eyes go from my eyes to my shoes, back up to my eyes. I walked out of the office. 10 minutes later, she's like, yeah, we have a no hoodie policy. Take the hoodie off. I was like, okay. I took the hoodie off. I looked directly to my left. My coworker, white woman, wearing the hoodie. I took a picture of her wearing the hoodie.
Yep.
I took a picture and I was just like, I feel like some not sitting well with me. Some not sitting well with me. And that's the thing. People, that's racism. There's no other underlining it because what is a hoodie?
Yo, I sound crazy to my friends and work and my coworkers when they all do Casual Friday, and I'm like, I don't think you're ready for Casual Friday for me. Let's all hang out for happy hour. I'm like, I don't really want to get a couple drinks in me and let you really hear me. Like, I don't.
My dad told me when I was growing up, he's like, yeah, because he's the head of regional finance for Hilton here in Philadelphia. Head of finance.
Right.
He said, some days I would just go to the gym and I'd wear my sweats in the elevator on my way up to the office. And he said the looks people would give me, I never saw them when I was wearing my suit and my name tag. He said the looks people would give me, same title and all, just because he had on sweats, people would look at him as if he didn't belong. No idea where he was, in the wrong place. And it's just like those small microcosms, that's what we have to deal with. What other race is literally have to deal with, man, I might not even be able to wear this today because people might think I ain't got a job.
None other. And I mean, when we try to tell people, we sound crazy until they actually see it. And then it's the thing I hate hearing the most at this point in 2020 is I had no idea. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it.
I had no idea.
Mike, I'm sorry, Mike. Why don't you jump in here and then we probably should try to wrap this up soon. This is not at all the conversation I wanted to have, but this is the conversation that we needed to have just with everything going on. And I hope we do get a part 2, but Mike, go ahead, man.
Yeah, I would like to take a second shot at the action. Because I had a revelation when y'all was talking, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to say a slight parable. On a magic mushroom trip, walking to Santa Monica. And while I was there, I got to the edge of the beach. And when I got to the beach, my back was facing like the pier and the front of my body was facing towards the vast, infinite everythingness of the sea and the sky. And the sea and the sky were both black. So it looked like I don't know if you guys have ever, whatever, but like, it just looked like infinite. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Oh my God. Like, that's God. You know what I'm saying? This is God. You know what I mean? Like, my chest opened, the wind was coming in, and it was just so beautiful. It was so pure. And I had to get to the edge of the world to feel that. Now I walked back into the pier, and I'm talking to my friend who was with me on this journey. And as we're talking, we're talking and we're streaming this consciousness, we're going back and forth in this exchange. We're tapped in. As we walk into the pier, we feel the frequency barrier around us I could not hear what he was saying when I put foot on solid ground. Like, he was not speaking words and we could not hear each other. We actually had to readjust our frequency from nature into society, which led me to believe in that moment, like, wow, there is a frequency barrier on this earth and on society. And in order to, so then boom, I was like, damn, that's crazy. So I walk further and I see street musicians playing. And the street musicians were penetrating this frequency barrier with high vibrations.
Mm-hmm.
Or around this frequency barrier, this frequency penetrator, which was this live music moment, were a part of this. So with that, the second point that I figured out was, yes, we live in a frequency barrier, but yes, we can actually penetrate it as well. Boom, revelation. The thing was, it's like, okay, the world right now is constructed to compress our frequency, our vibration, our energy, our connection to God, right? Our connection to love. And everything within that frequency barrier makes us hostile and creates all the madness that is this Babylon that we're living in. And so when I was like, so in that moment, a feeling of the thought came to me was like, to change this world, we have to master it. We have to master this physical world that was constructed by a human, just like we can construct it. We have to master the world that exists and recreate it to be a world that's more in alignment with nature, sustainability, love, God, and all these other things. Mm. So I say that to say, we have to master this game in this society as a people. We have to one of the things we have to do is play the game better and play it well. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's this book called Powernomics by Dr. Claude Anderson, and it's about how, and it's a national plan to empower Black America. A lot of the reason why we are seen as worthless is because, in general, we are the lowest socioeconomic class in America, and that's why our value. Because I don't think white people are race. Some white people are racist, but more than anything, white people are capitalists as Americans. You know what I'm saying? And that's the language that they understand more than race. They understand
Money.
and wealth more than they do race.
Right.
As a Black people in America, one of the things that we can do is become better at playing the game of wealth and increasing our own social economic power by increasing our own power within ourselves. It's going to require healing, and it's going to require us to tap in and to educate ourselves on the system that's oppressing us. There's a rule book to it, and we can find that. We have to know all the rules to break them. You know what I mean? I also believe that, like, a lot of the reason why people have these perceptions of Black Americans is because corporate America and media and entertainment have perpetuated the stereotypes that have them believing the things that they believe about us. And if we can come together and not perpetuate those things, like, gangster rap really hurt Black America, you know what I'm saying? In the perception of our brand. Like, there's brand Jamaica, there's brand America, well, brand Black America there's a lot of things that hurt us because we have to do desperate things to get ahead systematically. But now that we're in this era of the internet, we are more empowered with technologies and resources and education. We're in a better place than ever before, than we ever have been in any space in this race debate to bring wealth to us and create our presence in this capitalist society. And from there, you know what I mean? When we create better music, we be better examples. When we become better, like, tell better stories. Like, Issa Rae and Insecure is one of my favorite shows to study because it's about a Black woman, but she's playing the role of an awkward person just in the world. There's a lot of Blackness to it, but, like, white people love that show because it's like, it's not necessarily perpetuating stereotypes, more so it's perpetuating realities that make everybody be able to connect to Black people better. So master the game, like the commercial game, the media game, the financial game, and be the best versions of ourselves and connect to each other more. And I think that as a community, we can grow our value, our individual value, our community value, and be able to, like, I think that'll connect everybody who opposes us. It'll connect us more, and we'll be able to have better solutions. I don't know.
Nah, that's 100%. That's been my strategy, and you know, connecting both of y'all points. Like, I really want to be an inspiration to my community back home, and I want to be an inspiration. And by inspiration, I mean I just want to offer hope and show them that there are more things that they can do. And my family's number one. My family is very important. I think that we haven't done the best job at supporting each other, my family specifically. And if I could show my cousins that they can go to college and they can get a job and climb the ladder, like, that's what I want. And I don't think everybody in my family and I don't think everybody in my community has that in them. And along the way, if I can impress upon younger people, I've been an RA and like, I didn't understand how much I really enjoyed being a mentor towards peers my age. And then most recently, I had a job as an intern program manager where I got to work with kids that wanted to do well. And it was like an intersection of all my passions, like being able to be impressionable to young people and see these like hardworking, all different types of people, women, young white boys, young black kids, young Asian kids. Because I've kind of given up on the adults. I've kind of given up on the older generation, but I also, like you said, Mike, I want to be the best version of myself. And and that's what I've been telling everybody, all my close friends, is like, I'm just working on trying to play the game, learning the game. And once I get to a point where I can change the rules, I would love to change the rules, but I'm just trying to master the game that I've been placed in right now in life.
Right.
Unfortunately, I didn't get the opportunity to do mushrooms to figure that out. That is my next journey, though. I'm ready for that at some point, once we get back out to the real world. But listen, I really appreciate y'all. Again, this is not the conversation I wanted to have. There's so many more things that we can talk about, but unfortunately, this is where we are. And Cam, you were right, man. We need to have this conversation. Is there? Okay, I'll still have the holla at me podcast spin on this conversation. Cam, if there was one message that you could both give yourselves and Mike, graduating college, what's first day outside of college, what is something you would go back and tell yourselves to be prepared for the world that you are in today that would have maybe helped you out a little bit more?
Everything will work out. I think I probably just spent a lot of time just like stressing out. Not really stressing out, but it's more so the process of growth. There are some times you doubt, is this what I'm supposed to do? Is this what's meant for me? Am I really going to make it? I used to be in a point in my life where I was thinking, man, what else could go wrong? But now I'm in a point in my life where I'm like, man, what else? Like, how much better can life get? So, yeah, just like believing in yourself, staying just knowing that it'll work out.
Mike.
Shit, in the same energy of that statement and that sentiment, I would say be good to yourself. You know what I'm saying? Be better to yourself than the ambition that you have. Because you can have a lot of ambition. You can want a lot of things out of life and want a lot of things for you, but you will you can pursue all those things at your own expense. And like the things that you do and the person that you are one and the same. And don't forget the person that you are.
Well, I appreciate y'all. I really hope that we can get a Off the Wallz radio reunion show soon. But is there anything that y'all want to plug before we jump off of here?
Man, I'm Mike Wallz. I am leading a lifestyle and a brand called Free Life. I will be releasing later today a 30-day challenge that's meant to kind of create your own personal summer session curriculum for yourself. I don't know if y'all ever been in we've been in summer sessions at Penn State.
Of course, yeah. Of course.
Look, summer is always about like getting ahead. It's about like transforming into the next fall season. But it's also about doing what you need to do, but also having the free time to have fun. If you get your workout in, you get a class or two in, but then you have the rest of the day to day drink and party and all that, whatever you want to do. But because we don't have those structures anymore, I still am habitually in those cycles. So what I've done is I've made a couple commitments to myself. I've actually been really inspired by Kim, because if you see Kim, he's been working out every day.
Every day. 1K May.
Yeah.
I'm committed to 30 days of yoga. I'm committed to 30 days of cardio. I'm committed to 30 days of abs and strength and flexibility. I'm also committed to 30 days of journaling, 30 days of meditation. And I've programmed like 4 core classes that I'm doing. One is piano and music production.
Great.
The other is I'm studying to be a certified free life wellness coach by the World Coaching Institute. So I'm doing that. Create live stream broadcast subscription model platforms and stuff. Like those are my 4 areas of focus. So if you had like a curriculum that like academic advisor would give you for the summer, and there's only like you only got like 1 or 2 classes a day every other day, that's what I'm doing, mixed with like personal development work. So
where will we be able to find that?
It's going to be on the Free Life Wellness Instagram and Mike Wallz Instagram. Free Life Wellness summer session curriculum.
For sure.
What's the looking like? Last one.
And Kim, you got anything you want to put out there?
Yeah, I'll just plug my Instagram. Like Mike said, it's at Kembo Slice, Kembo_Slice. I'm doing the 1K May. Basically, I was just, it started off as just working out, but then I started to challenge myself in a goal of 1,000 calories for every workout. And it's honestly turned into a lot. I mean, a lot of people are DMing me. They're like, yeah, I'm doing the workout. I know a guy that I used to work with, he was at 240 pounds. He's down to 216 pounds.
Dang.
Yeah. So, I got some people that hit me up. We're doing morning workouts. So, and with every workout, I've been meditating right after. So, like, I've been like almost 2 months straight workout, meditate right afterwards. But,
bro, you look like you could beat Black Panther in a fight.
Bro,
like without the purple herb, bro, you look like you could whoop Black Panther's ass.
I'm trying, man. I mean, there was I think it's by Socrates or Aristotle, one of them. They're saying the worst thing a man can do is like not push his limits and find out like I'm summarizing, but yeah, he's saying your life is basically meant to challenge your physical abilities. So that, I mean, just being able, it really comes down to just being able to really move and work out. Because I did a few workouts outside, and one workout in particular, I remember I was doing some squats, and a guy walked by, and he was an amputee, and I just remember watching him walk up the stairs, and like, as much as everything's fucked up in the world, I'm blessed to have the ability to really, be able to live a functioning normal life, albeit what it is. But, so just being able to really use my body and just watch it, just adapt to these changes. So I did the 1K May tomorrow, doing the last workout, trying to go for like 2,000 calories. I might pass out. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, other than that, man, we'll see what happens with June. There's no gym, so we might do a 1K June. We'll see. But yeah, man.
I just ran 30 miles in May. That was it. A K a day. Good Lord.
See, that's one thing. I see you running every day, and man, I can run like once a week. I ran, what was it, Thursday? I had shin splints that literally up out of my sleep. When I say I was sleeping and my right leg seized up, I shot up like, yo, what is going on?
Well, look, I got an unfair advantage. I'm half Ethiopian. It's in my blood to run, bro.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I got an unfair advantage. We've been running since, yeah. But I appreciate y'all time, man. This was really dope. I feel honestly a whole lot better coming out of this than I was coming in. So, Cam, thank you for forcing this down my throat.
I appreciate it, man.
Pause. Just